We are doing it live. Welcome, everyone, to the 2017 USAC Sport and Speed National Championships final round. We are here at Movement Climbing and Fitness in Denver, Colorado for tonight's exciting, action-packed final. We have an absolutely packed house here. I think they filled just about every crevice in the gym with bodies at this point. Everyone getting ready to take in this final. We're going to get started with our athlete introduction in just a few minutes. But first, Neely Quinn, Chris Widener. Catch up on the action that happened this morning in semifinals. Neely, for the men, we got a logjam of 3 guys tied for first right now going into finals.
That's right. Kai Leitner, Jesse Grouper, and Noah Ridge are all tied for first. And nobody really climbed on the head wall at all. Nobody topped it out. So it was really incremental who got first and who got second and third.
All right, we're going to get back to this in just a second, but right now we're going to get the action started with our athlete introductions. And to do that, go down to the floor and onto Rockstead. Take it away,
hello. Can you guys hear me? Welcome to the USA Climbing Sport and Speed Nationals for 2017. This is a big deal. Can you hear me? I want to hear you. I can't hear you. There we go. Let's step it up one more time. How loud can we go? How loud can we go? I got a whole box of tricks that I'm going to be giving out if you guys meet those volume levels. All right, first things first, let's get into some athlete introductions, starting with the females. We're going to go in the order that they were going to climb. First out, Juliet Talbot. Give it up. These athletes worked hard to get here. This has not been an easy 2 days. I've been talking with the route setters nonstop. No gimmies here. Next up, NATALIA GROSSMAN. All right, wave to the crowd, Natalia. They want to know you're there. All right, next up, American Ninja Warrior needs no more introduction, Megan Martin. Give it up. She's a Colorado local girl. Very good. Another Colorado girl, Juliet Hammer. Come on. We love that front range climbing community. All right. Coming from the Pacific Northwest, we got MELINA COSTANZA coming out. All right, this lady needs no introduction. If you guys have a Wi-Fi connection, get out here, Margo Hayes. That's kind of what I thought. We got a lot of Colorado faces on the stage. We're going to get excited tonight, aren't we? All right, speaking of Colorado, another ABC kid, Brooke RABOUTOU. Come on. Might as well be called Colorado Nationals. All right, come on out here, KYRA CONDIE. From the fabled Hard Training Team Texas, Claire Burfine. All right, student outdoor red pointing extraordinaire, Michaela Kirsch, get on out here. Another lady that needs absolutely no introduction, but I'll try anyway. Come on out, Ashima Shirashi. You guys are lucky she'll put on another master class for you. We've been getting them all weekend. Give it up for your USA National Lady competition. All right. Next up, we're going to start out with the males. Joey CATAMA, get on out here. Joey climbed real well earlier today. Colorado's own native son, Austin Guyman. Give it up. All right, a guy that needs no introduction in the climbing competition scene, VASYA VOROTNIKOV. There we go. Got style for days. Come on out here, Solomon Barth. Shane the Chainsaw Messer. Get on out here. That was a special request for you, Shane. All right, from Florida, all the way from the highlands of Florida, Bobby TAFT-PITTMAN. All right, another American Ninja Warrior. Brilliant guy, nice guy, great athlete. Josh Levin, get on out here. Did I mention he's a showman? Outdoor crusher extraordinaire. Might put on a master class for you as well. RUANA, get on out here. He's been climbing great all weekend. Another quiet crusher. Let's get Noah Ridge. All right, next up, Jesse Grouper. He climbed super well this morning. Another all too regularly seen face in these circles, Continental Champion Kai Leitner. All right, let's give it up for your USA Nationals competitors.
All right, there you have your field for this year's Sport National Championship. The competitors are now going to start their 5-minute frantic route preview here in this on-site format. And as we do that, we're going to welcome into the booth the chief route setter this week, Luke Bertelson. Luke, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
So Luke, talk a little bit about how you and the route setting team approached this comp. You had 2 qualifiers yesterday, 1 semifinal this morning, and 1 final tonight. How do you guys figure out what you're going to do all weekend?
Well, there's a number of different things we look at, of course. You know, leading up to the event, we're getting a registrant list. So, of course, that's one of our main variables that we're looking at is the field. You know, who are we setting these routes for? And then we've got this awesome facility that we're working in all week. So we've got lots of toys to play with, whether it be, you know, the wall angles, the new holds and all of that. And then we've got these rounds. You know, yesterday we've got a flash format, and these last 2 rounds are on-site. And there's different things that we think about when we're thinking about whether it's one or over the other.
What's one of the kind of things you think about when you're setting these routes for competitors as different as Claire Burfine, for example, who's 5'11", and Brooke Raboutou, who's 5'1"?
Sure. I mean, so with some of those types of things, we just go back to our route setting basics and, you know, make sure that we understand, you know, both of those competitors you just mentioned are incredibly strong. But they're obviously totally different in size. So we try to keep things equitable, and, you know, for the most part, we've succeeded at least over the course of this competition in doing so, I hope.
No, absolutely. I think these routes have done an excellent job of separating the field. One question that a lot of us have is, it looks like you guys tweak the routes in between qualifiers and semis and finals, maybe a bit more than you might have, depending on how the field performed in the previous round. Is that right? And if so, how do you do that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, each of the format kind of plays into how we do that. So we start out, obviously, with a flash format because the competitors are able to watch one another. They're watching a demo video. Sometimes we can throw things that are a little trickier at them because they have a chance to watch people. And then we move right on into the on-site where we really aim to start separating the field. So I'm sure everybody noticed who watched the semis this morning. We kind of put the hammer down, especially on the men. We see how they climb in certain styles on the 2 different qualifiers, and then based on the moves we've seen them do and how they deal with those different styles, we can go into the semi and tweak, and then from there go into the final and do it again.
Yeah, so speaking of the final, what are we looking at here now for this final round? What can we expect to see from these competitors in these final routes?
So again, it's an on-site format. So right now, you know, they're doing their route preview. They're looking over things, and it's kind of important for us with these tall walls that they at least have some idea of what they're doing. So rather than throwing in these crazy, tricky, involved sequences, we try to keep it maybe slightly more straightforward, more resistance-based climbing. So we're trying to get them tired. We're trying not to give them too many places to rest. But at the same time, we want to have a little bit of flair thrown in there, so it's, you know, good for the people that are watching the broadcast and this huge crowd here on site watching things happen.
And is it fair to say that what you hope to happen is that as the competitors continue to come out, they get a little bit higher, each competitor, basically?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, obviously in the perfect world, we'd have one top. You know, sometimes we succeed at that, sometimes we don't. We had a great semifinal for the women's round. You know, maybe a little less of what we wanted for the men's semi, but again, we go and we tweak, and now we're again hoping to get one person at the top of each of these routes, hopefully.
Awesome.
And see the competitors there scoping with their binoculars. Got the nice option here at Movement to go up multiple levels to get a different angle on the wall. Kind of cool how you can see the folks way up on top of the bouldering wall up there, almost probably 30 feet off the deck. So the climbers will be taking advantage of all this during this route preview.
Yeah, and I really do love about climbing how all the competitors collaborate as they're looking at the routes. You can see them all miming the beta, talking to each other, correcting each other, and really trying to help each other out. Like right now is the time where these competitors are looking at these pieces of art that are very temporary. They will only be up for the next few hours. And you are the artist, Luke, and your team. So thank you so much for creating such routes that really captivate us for at least a few hours.
Oh yeah, our pleasure. I mean, you kind of nailed it though. One of the things we say often is we're building sandcastles. So like they're not going to be there for very long, and hopefully they do their job, and then next week we'll be back to gym members climbing on these walls.
All right, so before you get out of here, Luke, just who are you working with this week? Who else helped you out on the route setting crew?
So I've got a great crew. I've got Ryan Sewell, who's the director of route setting here at Movement. He's on the crew. I got Mike Bacchino from Salt Lake City, Brad Weaver from Atlanta and Stone Summit gyms. I got Jonathan Brandt, who's the head route setter at Climb Nashville, and then Adam Catalano from New York out here. And we've had a great crew and a great time here at Movement Denver.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all your efforts this week, Luke, you and the rest of the crew, and best of luck to you guys tonight. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks to Luke Bertelsen for stopping by the booth, offering his insights as a chief route setter at this Nationals. Always fun to watch the climbers kind of take in their first looks at these finals routes. As the nervousness builds, they'll go back into isolation now, where they'll await their turn. They'll be coming out in reverse order of how they finish in semifinals. So we're going to have our lower qualifying climbers out first in just a few minutes. And then we will ramp up until we get to our top qualifiers, Ashima Shiraishi for the women and Kai Leitner for the men. But as we were talking about before the route preview started there, you might have noticed if you checked in during semifinals this morning that Noah Ridge initially was ranked much lower in semifinals. There was an issue where it seemed like he had skipped a clip pretty low on the route, but he was allowed to continue climbing and got high point, and after the round was over, he was able to appeal that and was granted that appeal. So that's why Noah Ridge is back into finals here, tied for first place with Jesse Grouper and Kai Leitner.
I think one of the interesting things, Brian and Neely, about the men's field is that it differs a lot from the women's. Now, when you saw those women lined up there, it looked like a youth comp. And the men, on the other hand, we have Austin Guyman, Vasya VOROTNIKOV, Shane Messer, all pushing 30 or just over 30, and we just do not have any of that in our women's finals. Conversely, we have a couple surprises for the men's finals. We have Joey Katama and Bobby TAFT-PITTMAN, both only 17 years old, and certainly kind of dark horse competitors here.
Yeah, Joey was the last competitor that made it into the semifinals, and then he's also the last competitor making it to finals. So that's all you have to do to get a chance to take down this title. So really excited to see Joey's opportunity here at Nationals. And for the women, like you said, Chris, looks like a youth comp out there. The top 5 women all neck and neck, but led by Ashima Shiraishi, who was really superior so far. She hasn't fallen in the comp.
Yep. And what about the rest of the women's field, Neely?
Well, yeah, we have Ashima Shiraishi and Michaela and Claire at the top, but Margo Hayes actually fell a little bit lower than those three. Actually, she fell lower than Brooke, KYRA, Claire, Michaela, and Ashima, and it was sort of surprising for all of us. So she's sort of leading the pack where a lot of the girls got stuck. There was a crux, and a lot of them didn't get past it. So she did squeak in here, which we're happy about.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed about the women's field is that, not entirely shocking, but there are some names that we may not have predicted yesterday to be here in this finals. Names such as NATALIA GROSSMAN, Juliet Hammer, and MELINA COSTANZA. Great show by these ladies who do have a history placing well in comps, but not necessarily finals style. So exciting to see them here and see what happens.
All right, Neely and Chris, buckle up. We are underway in this 2017 Sport Climbing National Championship. You saw there on the wall for the men, Joey Katama, the 17-year-old out of Thousand Oaks, California.
And that's Julia Talbot, a 17-year-old from Florence, Massachusetts. She's 5'2", and she's been climbing since she was only 10 years old.
Always excited to get the first look at the finals routes. Joey came out in semis and put up a serious high point that was not eclipsed for quite a while in semis. So,
and underappreciated because of that. Yeah,
you never know
great.
with the first climber out what to make of their performance because you have nothing else to measure it against. But it was very solid and was enough to get him into the final.
Julia Talbot placed 5th in last year's Youth Bouldering Nationals. Again, she's not a name you'd see all the time, but she has a history of placing well. The year before, she was 9th place in Youth Nationals sport, and the year before that, in 2014, 6th place.
So you see the men there on the left. Their entire competition thus far has been on the right side of the wall, so this is new terrain for the men's comp, and likewise for the women. All of their qualifying and semifinals routes were on the left side of this wall here at Movement, so they're getting their first taste of the steepest section of the wall here at Movement.
Excellent view here of the routes as Joey takes the ride.
So a great showing from Joey CATAMA here at Nationals. Gotta be happy to make it into the final.
Notably absent is Carlo Traversi, not here in the finals for the men this time around.
And one other name that people might be wondering about is our winner from last year, Sean Bailey, not present this year, so no repeat champion for the men this year.
Julia looking quite relaxed, actually. She's maybe even having a good time up here.
Certainly as the first climber out, you hear from a lot of the competitors there's less pressure. They don't have to sit back there and hear how all the other competitors are doing. They just get to come out and climb and be done with it for the night.
And right now, she actually posted an Instagram a little earlier today about the holes in her shoes that she's climbing with. Don't know why that's the case, but indeed, they have not slowed her down yet.
Well, when you got comfortable shoes, you got comfortable shoes.
I have a feeling she's about to get uncomfortable here when she transitions onto this head wall. She is climbing really strong right now.
When I first looked at these routes, I figured that this one was the men's because there were so many slopers, but yeah. So it's kind of surprising.
Oh. Yeah, I had the same thought as you did, Neely, just based on how things have been going in the comp. So the route setters have been talking all weekend, though, how they're trying to put these climbers in positions that they're a little less comfortable with. So great first climb there, or great final there for Julia Talbot.
Reading her lips, she said, that was really cool. I like that route. Yeah, Julia Talbot having a great time. I'm sure she is thrilled just to be in finals.
And as soon as they get the rope pulled from Julia there, they're going to start the next men and women at the exact same time. So everybody be climbing in pairs here throughout this final. We've got 11 men and 11 women who made it into the final here. Looking to crown our 2017 national champion. Margo Hayes trying to go back-to-back for the women. And we'll crown a new champion this year for the men. Although we do have two former champions in the field, VASYA VOROTNIKOV and Kai Leitner.
This is Natalia Grossman. She's from Boulder. Team ABC is representing strongly today. She's a sophomore in high school, and she qualified 10th to get into semis.
And that's Austin Guyman, 30-year-old from Colorado Springs. He is 6 feet tall and known mostly for his bouldering. It's pretty awesome to see him out here on the sport climbing scene doing so well that he's in finals.
Yeah, I think he's pretty psyched to have made it through. He posted some kind of fun pictures on Instagram of him training on some non-traditional ways for sport nationals. I don't think he spends a lot of time with a harness on.
Yeah.
Well, I just realized that he owns the sport climbing center in Colorado Springs. And I was doing my research on him, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing we've talked about all weekend is just the sort of strange nature of the season for these competitors. 5 weeks ago was bouldering nationals for the adults, and then youth nationals for bouldering was just 4 weeks ago, so it's a very quick transition from bouldering to sport climbing for these climbers. But if they're struggling with it, they're not really showing it.
Right, I think they're so strong that climbing routes, they're such strong boulders that these holds probably feel easy to them. Although these routes aren't easy, I was talking to the setters and they said one thing to note is how similar the grades are between men's and women's, which we don't see often. They're both 13 plus or 14 minus, they think.
Wow, and even on routes that hard, I doubt any single section is going to pose too much of a threat for Austin, aside, of course, from the fact that he'll be pumped. But he's a V well into the double digit.
Yeah, he just did a V14 first ascent a couple weeks ago, so
yeah,
he's fit for like the 15-foot sections.
That's right.
I think we're going to see a more resistant style here than finals that we did in the semis. The women's route had a pretty large rest.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering watching these athletes that they did compete just last night on 2 routes, full length of the wall. They competed this morning in semis, and now here they are again. I mean, their endurance is tested more ways than one right now in this finals.
Austin Guyman climbing fluidly right now, as is Natalia Grossman. Both looking very comfortable right now. You can usually tell when sport climbers are getting close to falling.
It must be sort of comforting to have 2 of her ABC teammates out there competing with her, Brooke and Margo. Too many slopers.
Oh, and it's a 1-2. Both of them climbing high. Austin setting the new high point for the men.
So a great effort this weekend from Austin Guyman. I think he's got to be pretty happy with that. Just below the head wall there for the men. Don't think you can say that word on TV. That's sort of a thing we've seen a lot throughout the weekend, and it's quite common in sport climbing comps where the competitors sort of are on the wall 1 second, and the next second they're falling, and it just happens so quickly for them. It's not like they're just out there getting really pumped and then falling off of one hold. They're just trying to give their maximum effort, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
That's right, Brian. These routes are long enough where they will accumulate a pump if they can hold on, but they are also short enough where the route setters must make difficult sections, like sections where if they make a single mistake, whether it's a hip a fraction of an inch off or a foothold slip, like we saw a lot of foothold slips in the semis for the men, and they're off. They've really got to be accurate. They've got to be fit.
Yeah, there's just not much margin for error. We're on to our next pair of climbers here. 2 of our older competitors in finals, led right now by Megan Martin for the women, 27-year-old, climbing out of Boulder, Colorado. Megan, a longtime fixture on the competition circuit.
And that's VASYA VOROTNIKOV. He's 29 years old out of Arvada, Colorado, so local here. He's 5'9". And he has, in his career, climbed 515A outside. He's climbing strong here.
Yeah, Vasya's been a little under the radar the last couple years. after a string of really great results at Bouldering Nationals, as well as a win at Lead Nationals 5 years ago. So it's great to see him back here on the national stage.
Yeah, he has podiumed 3 times. In 2012, like you said, as first, and then the next year he was 3rd in Bouldering Nationals, and then the next year in 2014, 2nd in Bouldering Nationals. Just a name we've seen for so many years, and yeah, it's great to have him back.
It's funny that we were looking up some of his more notable outdoor ascents, Neely, and we were surprised he did the Route Jaws 2 in Rumney in 2007, when some of these women competitors were like 5 years old. It's kind of crazy to think about how long Vasya has been climbing at this high of a level.
Yeah, I wonder what he thinks about that.
I bet he feels pretty good about it.
So the route setters were up until 4:45 today, resetting, tweaking. They were a little bit tired, and I was talking to them. There's definitely a Star Wars theme. The name of this route that he's on is it's called Route Setters Strike Back, in case you're wondering.
I bet the climbers are going to have something to say about that.
Yeah. The female route is called These Are Not the Bubs You're Looking For, and that's because those green holds are called bubs, and they're made by SoIl.
Megan is most well known, I think, for her bouldering competitions, or of course for her presence in American Ninja Warrior. But let's not forget that she did place 2nd at the 2015 Seagull Block comp, which is a wall that's not too much lower than this one. She definitely has what it takes to climb really well on sport routes.
Yeah, and Megan really likes climbing under the bright lights of finals with the big crowd. She really thrives on that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, she did well in the National Cup Series for bouldering this year. She placed 3rd in the Yankin Yard and 5th in the Vulcan Cup. So I'm not really sure how she trains for routes, but she's doing well. And I saw her in my athletic catalog today.
Nice.
Love it.
See Vasya moving quickly just below the high point set a moment ago by Austin Guyman, and just in the same vicinity as Austin there, maybe half a move further for Vasya VOROTNIKOV. That's going to do it for him as we look at Megan Martin now.
And she's
off as well. As you're watching the climbers at home and thinking about how they're getting scored here tonight, they get points for each hold they control in sequence on the route, and then they also get fractional points for moving up to the next hold and also grabbing usable surface but not controlling next hold. So that's something that they'll be discussing with the judges you see there when they get to the ground, and just verifying that everyone agrees where they got to on the route. So a little bit hard for us to tell from here exactly how people get scored, but we'll check in on the scores as we get them throughout the evening here. You can check on those at usaclimbing.org as well for the live unofficial results.
The reason the belayers are pulling the ropes all the way through is they want to stress different ends of the rope every other climber. And of course, make sure that there are no kinks or knots in the ropes. The last thing you want to do is short rope someone in finals.
Yeah, that's a bad look.
These belayers have been doing a really, really good job. We've only had a couple falls that were even close to the ground, and that was because they fell clipping or something. So they've been really keeping an eye on them and keeping it safe.
Juliet Hammer is next up. 5'0" in height and 22 years old. She is a local from Denver, Colorado.
And up next for the men there, Solomon Barth, the 20-year-old from Collegeville, Pennsylvania. Took 4th place at Youth Nationals last year. Had a really excellent showing as well at Bouldering Nationals last month in Salt Lake City. See how he fares at Rope Nationals.
Juliet Hammer has been competing for long enough to have taken 2nd place in the 2014 Collegiate Bouldering Nationals.
She also placed 3rd at Waco Rock Rodeo this year. So she's not just a gym rat.
Yeah, that was only a few weeks ago, so another boulder.
That's right.
Putting the harness, dusting off the harness.
She was doing circuits out there, I'm sure, on those boulders.
Looked like most people working on their tans. It was so hot.
Yeah, right.
So far for the women, Juliet Talbot, high point, first woman out of the gate. For the men, Austin and VASYA neck and neck as we get into the middle of our final round here.
Yeah, these routes are definitely different. There were rests all over, not all over, but there was at least one good rest on each route, and I don't see any rests here.
That was kind of interesting, talking to the route setters and sort of thinking about some of the tactics we saw during semifinals. The women just sort of rested because it's kind of what they are trained to do, and it didn't really help a lot of them, so they're not going to have that opportunity in finals here.
That's right. Yeah, and this on-site format, again, they've only had 5 minutes to preview the route with their friends at the base before this round started, and now they're just coming back out and refreshing their memory for less than a minute looking up at the route. And other than that, I mean, they are just on-siting. This is the first time they've touched these holds, and I think we're going to see a lot of different beta because of that. That's what makes this one interesting, as opposed to the qualifying round where they actually all got to watch a video of the route before climbing on it.
So that's kind of a strange shot there. It looked like she was above the bolt, but she wasn't, and that would have disqualified her if she had got her feet above the beaner. But she was fine. I mean, she fell, but...
And just when I said there'd be no resting, Solomon Barth
copping a rest on the non-holds.
See him working that right toe under there. Helps take some weight off his arms. He knows that after this point, there's very unlikely to be any rests in the remaining 25 feet or so of this route. So we'll see if the other men find that. And wow, a little bit of what we saw this morning, a long rest followed by an almost immediate fall for Solomon Barth there.
Yep, and it looked like the clip gave him just enough trouble that he just barely got the rope in, and then he was off.
So that's definitely a trend we're going to keep an eye on here in finals. See how many climbers rest there, or did they just kind of power through like Austin and VASYA did?
Yeah, it was kind of surprising to see him shake out for that long, right in the middle of that steep section, on what did not look like a great hold.
By the reaction of the crowd, they're either giving out free stuff or showing the crowd on camera, one of the two things.
That's right.
But you can just see how packed it is here at Movement Denver. The Denver climbing community really coming out to support this event in a big way this weekend. Huge lines outside to get in tonight. Big party in the parking lot before finals started here. Great atmosphere here all weekend long.
Coming up for the women is MELINA COSTANZA. She's a 16-year-old out of Seattle. She's on the Vertical World team, and she qualified 8th into semis. And she has actually been on the podium for bouldering youth nationals for the last 5 years. No big deal.
We're taking a look at Shane Messer there. He's 31 years old from Watertown, Massachusetts. The rumor has it that he might be getting married later this next month. So there he is. Shane Messer really put up a fight in both qualifiers and semis. He made one of the most spectacular comebacks on one section of the qualifiers yesterday. We were all literally dropping our jaws watching him hold on to that one section, barely. He's got some fight.
Yeah, it's what you love to see. Makes for a great show when the competitors come out and give it all they got out here. in a way that is visible to the audience. A lot of these climbers are very composed while they're climbing, but a guy like Shane Messer, you're going to know when he's trying hard.
That's right.
So one thing we learned from the setters after qualifiers was that they look at what the women and the men excel at and what they don't excel at. And what they learned from the women is that they're really good on crimps and they weren't so great on the pinches and slopers. So they made it so that the semis and this route has more slopers and pinchers. Unfortunately, I think they sort of dropped the hammer on them with this route with all these pinchers and slopers.
That's pretty crazy that she's climbing with what looks like her belay cards on her harness in the finals of Sport Climbing Nationals. Wow.
It's never a bad time to shout out to safety, Chris.
That's right.
I want to see these women climb on those big slopers. Crowd's giving him some love.
Shane is now in the same spot that VASYA was when he rested for a while.
That actually looks like a decent plate that he's on. Melina's nearing our high point here.
So Shane able to keep it together where Solomon was not able to, but that's what we saw yesterday. Shane's not afraid to cut feet and just keep going.
Shane, don't mess. Let's check it out.
Shane Messer,
Oh, wow.
a new high point for the men.
There's some of that fight and power we were just talking about.
He's got a crowd of 1,000 people pushing him up that wall.
And he's not going to clip from there.
That's going to do it for Shane, the Chainsaw Messer.
Obviously happy with his performance there. He's clapping before even touching the ground.
Yeah.
So new high point for the men there by Shane. Getting a few moves higher than VASYA and Austin Guyman. So he will be the leader in the clubhouse with our top 6 competitors still to come here. And as we're halfway through here, we've got some unofficial results coming into you right now. Take a look at those. And for the women especially, see Juliet Talbot, our first finalist, out in first place right now. A clear high point over Natalia Grossman and the rest of the women who have competed thus far in finals. See how long that can hold up. And for the men, obviously Shane will be going ahead of VASYA as soon as his score gets entered there. So we've got the stage set here for the heavy hitters to come out in finals. Speaking of heavy hitters, the heaviest of them all, our reigning national champion, the queen of American sport climbing right now, Margo Hayes, out of Boulder, Colorado, the 19-year-old, setting the new standard just a couple weeks ago in Sierrana, Spain, climbing a 5:15A. First woman to do that in history. Coming into this weekend with a lot of confidence. See how she recovers from her semifinal performance.
This is Bobby TAFT-PITTMAN. He's 17 years old. He's been climbing for 8 years. He's 5'8", and he's from Longwood, Florida, but he lives in Orlando now.
Must have moved there for the climbing.
Right?
And there goes Margo Hayes, as Brian said, just breaking the 5:15 barrier for women a few weeks ago. The last time a number grade was broken on the American scale was in 1990 when Lynn Hill became the first woman to climb a 5:14.
Nice fun fact there, Chris.
And you know this crowd is ready to get super psyched about Margo. She lives and trains just up the road here in Boulder. Currently living over in France, though, working on her French. And obviously her climbing as well. Guys, Bobby, one of the biggest and most pleasant surprises for this whole weekend for me. I'd not seen him compete at Nationals before. So really impressed by his performance this weekend.
Very much so. It's been a pleasure to watch him climb very coolly, especially for a 17-year-old. It is worth noting that last year he did get first place in the Sport Youth Nationals. So he does have the credentials. It's just, wow, he's exploding onto the scene here in Adult Nationals.
Yeah, not only did he get first in Sport Youth Nationals, he got second in Bouldering Youth Nationals. So
yeah, that's right. That's a very well-rounded guy right there.
Yeah.
And this is a fun juxtaposition. Margo Hayes grew up in Boulder, climbing her whole life in the climbing mecca of America, and Bobby climbing out of Florida, just one of those super talented climbers that doesn't matter where they live, they're just able to climb at a super high level.
Yeah, one could argue that the rock climbing around Boulder is so good that it may even distract from actual training, because rock climbing is just too easy for a lot of these people. Bobby TAFT-PITTMAN getting the crowd involved while he's on that rest.
It's like he's been here before.
Right. So Margo, once again, she had a surprising slip off of semis, but she did top both in qualifiers. One of the two people to do that.
Bobby looking really strong through this section that's given all the men trouble. See if he can eclipse the high point that was just set by Shane Messer.
He's climbing quick.
Wow, and Margo, you can tell how steep the wall is finally from these side angles. Both climbers just still clinging to these holds.
Oh, and Bobby not able to figure that move out, but a great performance by him this weekend. As all eyes turn to Margo Hayes, even though she's out as our 6th finalist. She could definitely win the comp right here.
And she is above Julia Talbot's high point now. Solidly into terrain we have not yet seen.
Looking pretty casual there.
The next moves certainly look far from casual, don't they?
Yeah, and I don't know, well, she's getting her rest here. She's been getting really pretty long rests on every route she's been on in this competition so far.
You can see that's a pretty in-cut hold. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a pretty good position for her, but we'll see if there's diminishing rewards here, like we saw in semis where she rested for quite a while, but then fell just a move later.
Wow,
Margo just tickling her way out.
Wow.
The control involved in these sequences.
Our defending national champion trying to make it 2 years in a row right now. She has just one hold from the finish.
And that finish is a long way away.
Margo Hayes with the onsite.
Margo Hayes,
For her.
current national champion, putting in the performance that we've all hoped she would make on site. And she is beaming.
Nice, Margo.
So the pressure back in ISO has just gone way up on the rest of the women sitting back there. They know that Margo Hayes just finished this route. So they know if they want to be national champion, there can be no falling in finals.
She looked determined. I think after that fall in semis, she was like, nothing is getting in my way.
And so that fall in semis could come back to haunt her, Neely. We'll see how things go, because if there's a tie in finals, they will count back to semifinals. So if any of the women after Margo finish the route, they will be in front of her in the standings. So we knew that was a big development at the time for Margo when she fell in semis unexpectedly. But we also talked about knowing that she has a mental resolve to come back in finals and do what she just did right there.
That's right. It takes a very determined level of mental resolve to come back off of a fall that she wasn't expecting, and to come back just a few hours later and put in that performance. And now we have teammate of Margo's, Brooke Raboutou, who's just 15 years old. One of the big stories of this year was having both Brooke and Ashima Shirishi competing in sport nationals as adults for the very first time.
Out there for the men, you got Josh Levin, climber and mechanical engineering student, climbing out of Sunnyvale, California these days. 19-time youth national champion.
Did you say 19-time?
One of the most decorated youth national champions in history. Great to see Josh in finals here after a couple of injury-plagued seasons for him.
Just last month, Brooke took third place in bouldering nationals. Also, of course, her first time competing as an adult. She is also the overall youth world champion for her age in all disciplines, speed bouldering and sport.
She's done well in this competition. She topped one of the 2 climbs in qualifiers, got really close on the second, and then she was one of the few people who got really high on semis.
Brooke, of course, has a hard act to follow, being the daughter of Robin Erbisfield Raboutou and Didier Raboutou, both World Cup competitors back in the 80s and 90s, and both with winning records.
So as we were pointing out earlier, this is an on-site format. You saw the competitors come out to preview the routes earlier, but then they went back into isolation to continue their warm-ups where they were not able to see what's going on out here, but obviously they can hear what's going on. They get a pretty good sense of exactly what's going on out here as far as who's getting high point. So they definitely know that Margo Hayes summited the finals route for the women.
That's right.
Josh Levin is also an American Ninja Warrior. I knew his name. Both of these athletes have climbed 514C outdoors. Brooke just did her first 514C last year in the Red River Gorge.
Josh trying to chase down Shane Messer right now, who is out in front for the men. Obviously, Brooke trying to chase down Margo Hayes.
And again, Brooke is only 5'1". It's always interesting to see how the shorter athletes climb on routes where much taller athletes are also climbing, and the difference in technique, the difference in beta, it's always really cool to see.
So Britt quickly moving on to this head wall. We'll see how she fares. Margo made it look relatively easy, you guys, but that can be misleading when you've got elite level climbers out on the wall.
Yeah, it looked like Margo pulled off some World Cup bouldery style, kind of a 1-2 switcheroo on these slopers up there. Let's see what Brooke can come up with. This is not an easy read.
I just don't understand that. She's so short, and it looked the same as it did for Margo for her. That is a long move. She's so impressive.
Wow. Speaking of long moves, this last move to the jug, the finishing hold, is a biggie, no matter how tall you are.
This is for first place for Brooke Raboutou, and no, not able to get the drive up and over to that finish hold. So Margo Hayes still in first place.
They are both happy with what they did, though. They both tried their very best, and that's all you can ask for, is to not make any serious mistakes and do your best. And we just saw that from both athletes.
Josh falling just before the head wall there, so Shane Messer still going to be out in front for the men. And it's definitely going to come down to an exciting showdown with that finish move for the remaining women still to come. And Margo Hayes is going to have to sweat it out as she waits for this talented group of women to finish this final round.
Last month, Brooke was in our interview booth here, and she was just so happy to have been competing at Bouldering Nationals as an adult. I'm sure she's feeling the exact same way now.
Yeah, she was all smiles. She got third place, and she couldn't be happier, it seemed.
So the guys, this final round moved so quickly. Started with 11 competitors. We are down to our top 4. Some of our best climbers in the country coming up.
We started off with 69 men and 52 women. So we've pared them down a lot. We have KYRA Condie here. She's 20 years old. She's out of Minnesota. She goes to school there. And she actually got first place at the Waco Rock Rodeo this year. And she got 5th place in Bouldering Nationals last month.
There's a look at 17-year-old Drew RUANA from Redmond, Washington. He is 5'7" and extremely accomplished both indoors and outdoors. Last year, he got 3rd place in the Youth Bouldering Nationals. In 2015, he won the Youth Sport Nationals, and he also got 2nd the year before in Youth Worlds for sport climbing. Let alone all of his outdoor accomplishments, including 514D first descent at Smith Rock.
Yeah, in a field where a lot of the youth competitors are really decorated indoors, but not as much outdoors, I think you could say that Drew is even more accomplished as an outdoor climber.
Absolutely.
Pretty much the king of Smith Rock at this point, having done just about all the hardest routes there.
Yeah, and now he's been putting up all these Funkmo 13D crimp fests that are gnar that people have overlooked for decades. And he's finally like, well, I'm pretty much done with this, Cliff. I better put up something.
So while the women definitely know they need to finish, the men definitely not as clear for them. They're going to be just trying to punch it as high as they possibly can towards that finish. Love to see one of the men get higher under that head wall.
Drew could be the guy. He has on-sighted 14A outdoors. And I have no idea what he's on-sighted indoors, but it's probably at least that.
Well, and again, remember that they're trying to on-site 13+/14-, both of them right now.
As Brian said earlier, all the women know that Margo did make the top, so the pressure is on for KYRA Condie.
She can top this, she'll go into first place.
KYRA's been competing for a long time. She started when she was a kid, and she actually had surgery for scoliosis, and it really helped her as a competitor, made her a stronger climber. She had a crooked back.
Drew reeling in that really tough boulder problem there, getting a rest even.
Drew going to be the first guy to clip that hold. He's looking very solid right now. If he can get to the next hold with his right hand, he will have a new high point for the men. He looks locked in right now, as does KYRA Condie, but no, she gets pushed off the wall, off those so ill blobs. RUANA pushing way out in front for the men right now. Gunning for his first national champion as an adult.
Oh.
Holy sloper.
Off the last hold of the route.
That was great.
RUANA with a definitive high point.
So after a great climb there, RUANA's got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
As we wait for our third place qualifiers to come out, we take a look at the scores. Margo Hayes out in front there, just in front of Brooke RABOUTOU. Juliet Talbot, our 11th place qualifier for finals. Awesome performance by her in third place right now with 3 to go. So she will be in the top 6, top 7, I guess, when KYRA's score gets added in there. I think KYRA was a little bit higher than her. So great performance though from Juliet Talbot. And for the men here, RUANA will be out in front there, but Shane Messer, great climb from him, you guys.
Yeah, Shane Messer has impressed me this whole weekend. Maybe he's feeling the pressure. His life's about to change. About to tie the knot in a different way. Not the rope, baby.
And out next for the women, our third place qualifier for finals, Claire Burfine, the 18-year-old from Plano, Texas. Very decorated youth competitor. Has finished on the podium here multiple times at adult nationals. Been so close to winning a couple of times where she's tied for first. So she is definitely looking forward to her first national championship. This could be it for her.
For the men, you're looking at Noah Ridge. He's 22 years old from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's 5'6", with a +2 ape index. And he got second in the 2014 Sport Nationals, so it's good to see him back here today.
Yeah, it sounds like Noah suffered from injuries for a couple years, but now he's back in action and in full force.
Yeah, Noah in a 3-way tie for first right now. So he just happens to be the first one of those 3 to come out in finals here. So we're definitely looking to get some separation among the top 3 men. Otherwise, we may get some bonus climbing. We'll keep you posted on that as the top 3 men finish their round here.
Yeah, in an unusual twist, they are all tied at the moment. So let's see how this goes for the men.
Once again, Noah was the guy who had that sort of technical, they thought that he had skipped a clip, and there was sort of some debate about where his feet were and what the rules are. And he contested it and he won, and that's why we see him here right now.
Claire also a past winner of the Seco Block Masters. Deepwater solo comp in Park City held each summer. You get a great look at how steep these walls are. Sometimes it's easier just not to use your feet.
That's right. Well, the ladies are making the first 2/3 of this route really look like no big deal. I'm wondering when Claire's going to have to try.
Right. But she climbs 13D outside in V11/V12. So she is strong.
Both competitors looking very solid right now, as you would expect, qualifying in the top 3 for finals.
So So Noah topped out both of the problems on qualifiers. Got a high point, and he's off.
So Noah Ridge not able to equal the effort of Drew RUANA. Put him in second place thus far in finals, as we focus now on Claire Burfine trying to chase down our defending national champion Margo Hayes.
Oh,
Claire just losing
teetering backward
tension
on
there.
these slopers.
Definitely, I think, made a little bit of a mistake there, not pulling in with her left hand on that black crimp and coming up right hand to those big blobs. So Claire Burfine, another competitor not able to catch up with Margo Hayes. So just 2 more for Margo Hayes to wait out here to see if she can defend her championship.
Yeah, it's hard to tell how Claire's feeling about it. She's naturally so smiley, but I bet you she's second guessing the beta she just used.
We have 2 more women who might be able to top out. We have Michaela Kirsch and Ashima Shiraishi coming up, which I am personally really excited to watch. For the guys, we have Jesse Grouper and Kai Leitner, and those are our last 2 climbers. I was wondering how they were going to fill this place in. This building, this facility was designed in part to host these competitions, so it does accommodate people well.
There's a first look at our finalist, Michaela Kirsch. She has been all over the news lately. Not only has she done 6 5:14Cs in the last 12 months, she did 3 of them in just 9 days a couple weeks ago, all at the Red River Gorge, where she climbs only on the weekends because her regular life is pretty packed with stuff. She's coaching, she's in school full-time, and she's still 7 hours from the Red. So very, very impressive outdoor career. And Michaela has also been just constantly upping it in the competition scene as well.
Another climber here who's all smiles for the men is Jesse Grouper, the 20-year-old from Montclair, New Jersey. Took second 2 years ago when the comp was out in Watertown at Central Rock. So he is a threat to make it back to the podium. It's not going to surprise us this time. Yeah, Michaela Kirsch taking Weekend Warrior to a whole new level, Chris.
That's right. You know, I got to say, if there was one climber in this competition who I would like to climb more like, it's Michaela, because you can tell she's pumped, but she just fights through it in a graceful way. And she just keeps getting 1 hold higher and then 1 hold higher. I really enjoy watching it. And she's also my vote for the one who's actually having the most fun at the moment.
Yeah, she's got some grit and some confidence. It's really cool to watch her.
Yeah, she is a treat to watch.
I'll be interested to see how much she's smiling after she faces down that last move if she gets there.
That's right.
Anybody that saw that video of her climbing the Red River Gorge, the 514C last fall, golden ticket, some pretty big jumps on that route, so she's definitely been practicing.
Yeah, and she's one of the shorter climbers. There are a lot of short women in this field, and she's 5'1". Does not hold her back.
So the calm before the storm for both climbers right now.
Michaela's another one who does well at the Seco block. She took first place in 2016.
Yeah, she pretty much dominated last year.
Yeah.
Seco comp. She was just getting a circuit workout in.
She doesn't seem to have any fear. I think that helps her.
Jesse Grouper trying to chase down Drew RUANA, who is in first place for the men right now. And Michaela Kirsch trying to dethrone Margot Hayes.
Wow. Jessie Grouper making that hard move look not so bad, just reeling it in.
Confidently making her way up this wall.
Remember, Drew got to the last black volume you see on the wall in that wide shot, so if Jessie can control the next hold after that, he will move into first place. Just 2 moves away for Jessie Grouper, but 2 very difficult moves here. You can see him, his grip's starting to slip. Can he keep it tight? Jessie Grouper punching into first place for the men.
Nice.
And Michaela teetering off, and it's a simul fall for both athletes.
Very impressive.
A spectacular new high point from Jessie Grouper.
You could see on the second last volume there, his fingers were starting to slip, but he maintained tension, and he has got to be psyched about that.
Only one
to catch his breath here at Mile High City.
Only one guy left can dethrone what Jessie just did. And that, of course, would be Kai Leitner.
Michaela looks a little disappointed, and she knew she could do a little bit better there, but a great performance from her, and obviously got to be feeling great about her accomplishments outdoors the last few weeks and the last year especially. Great to see her continue to get better. Set a great example for all the younger competitors coming up behind her. She's sort of the elder statesman, just in her early 20s. Elder stateswoman, I should say. So you see her conferring with the judges, saying, "Hey, I got this move."
Let's put mics on them.
Yeah, it's a good policy. I like how they do that. The competitors come down, and the judges and competitors actually collaborate and agree on the official high point. And so that's how they deal with any contests with the judges' score.
So we started just about an hour ago with 11 finalists, and we are down to our top qualifiers for both the men and the women, and they're getting the crowd psyched here at Movement Denver. And this is for all the marbles. The national champion will be crowned here in just a few minutes.
And this is the reason, one of the main reasons I came to this competition. Ashima Shiraishi has just joined us on the floor.
And so has Kai Leitner, 17-year-old from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Definitely a favorite for this competition, and it is his because no guy has made it to the top yet.
Kai, our 2015 sport climbing national champion, so he knows what it takes.
And 9-time national champion on the youth circuit. It's difficult to overstate Kai's accomplishments indoors.
So Ashima's a 15-year-old girl from New York City. She's 5'1". She's a 5-time consecutive ABS Youth National Champ. She's the only person who finished the semifinal route just earlier today.
She hasn't actually fallen yet. She flashed both the qualifiers, so if she can keep that streak going, it's hard to lose the comp if you never fall.
Right.
That's right, Brian.
A good pro tip for all the kids at home watching.
Pro tips from Brian.
Yeah, Kai Leitner just last month placed second in bouldering nationals.
As did Ashima. So because Ashima is going to be 16 during the year of 2017, that is why she can compete with the adults now. And there are a lot of 15-year-olds in this competition.
And like you guys pointed out, Ashima and Kai both placing very highly at bouldering nationals just 5 weeks ago. And then also I think they both won their divisions at Youth Nationals the next weekend, so.
That's right.
They did.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that was the bouldering comp, and Kai, even talking to him, doesn't sound that confident when we've interviewed him about bouldering. He's kind of like, yeah, you know, I show up here because I should. And then he like...
Because I'm good at it.
Yeah, and he just does so well, but this is actually his game. Let's see if Kai can make a repeat of what he did 2 years ago here at Sport Nationals.
And this is a really fun moment for both these climbers. If you've seen the Real Rock Tour the last couple years, saw a feature on them climbing in Norway together, so
that was cute.
They spent some time together, certainly become friends through climbing. See if they can both take down national titles at the same time here.
That was a really cool video. Ashima was working on Thor's hammer, a 515A, and not quite making it happen. Margo came in for the swoop.
Yeah.
Right, we thought that she had been the first person to do a 15A when she did a 14D. It would downgrade it to a 14D. But still, she's climbed 14D and she's climbed V15 outside. And she does the splits in indoor competitions. She does whatever she needs to do to get up these walls.
Well, so far, Kai Leitner appears to be unchallenged.
See if he can figure out this clip now. He's climbed higher than most of the other men have. But you see him using that length, getting a perfect position to make that clip.
Yeah, he's our tallest climber out here. 6'2".
2 more holes between Kai Leitner and his second national championship. If he can do this move, that is going to be it for Kai Leitner, the 2017 national champion. His second incredible performance from Kai Leitner.
He is psyched. What an amazing performance.
It's so easy to be happy for him.
And that is just exactly what the Root Centers wanted.
Yeah.
Was one of the men and one of the women to top out this problem.
Yeah.
These roots. And you just saw it. Our last competitor, Kai Leitner, your new national champion.
Each of the last 3 men finished 1 move apart, basically. So great job by the Root Setters there.
Yeah, they win. They win the comp.
Now all eyes on Ashima Shiraishi. She is in cruise control right now.
Taking a very uncouth rest. Nobody else has paused on that hold. We saw the exact same thing in the semifinals where she skipped the rest that everyone else used and just chilled on something a lot worse. At least it looked so. Here she is doing the exact same thing.
She is consistently one of the most creative competitors out here.
So if she does this route, she will be the champion because Margo did not do the semifinal route. But Ashima did.
Wow.
We know Ashima was really disappointed to take second at Bouldering National, so this is her chance at redemption here. Have her championship moment in sport climbing. Just 2 moves to go.
And you know, why not rest on one of the worst holds on the route?
See how she figures out this massive last move. She is staring it down. And Ashima Shiraishi latches the finish and her first national championship as an adult.
Oh my gosh, what a moment. Ashima has done it. This is the moment we have been looking toward for several years now. She is finally able to compete as an adult and she takes it.
She looks very happy, as she should. She has a lot to be proud of.
She does not know what it's like to fall in this entire competition.
She goes 4 for 4. The clean sweep for our 2017 sport climbing national champion. Gotta have a feeling that this will not be her last.
Yeah.
But you gotta start somewhere. No. She is 1 for 1 as an adult in sport nationals. An incredible competition for the women and the men this entire weekend. We're going to catch our breath here, come back with our speed climbing finals, as well as our trophy presentations for our winners. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movement Climbing and Fitness in Denver, Colorado, where we just saw the crowning of our 2017 Sport Climbing National Champions, Kai Leitner for the men and Ashima Shiraishi for the women. Kai with his second national championship and Ashima with her first and counting. And as we transition into our speed final here in just a few minutes, Neely and Chris, that was an incredible final.
That was absolutely show-stopping. We did see just one top from the men, and that was Kai Leitner. And Margo Hayes also topped it out, but they had to throw it back to the semifinal round where she did not make the top, but Ashima did. It was a thrilling event. This is exactly what the route setters had in mind, and it could not have gone any better.
Yeah, it was a picture-perfect competition. I loved watching those guys climb.
Yeah, the men especially was, we had a three-way tie coming into finals, so we're a little bit on edge about the potential for a super final there, but the route setters got perfect separation you want there with the last three competitors all finishing within a move of each other, basically. Kai Leitner, Drew RUANA in third place, and Jesse Grouper in second, excuse me. So Drew, Kai, Jesse, and then Drew, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and pretty much as the comp went on, the women and the men just kept getting higher and higher, and that's, yeah, it's just perfectly designed and thrilling to watch.
Yeah, the route setters have really made a science out of this, out of these competitions. So kudos to them, really.
And for the women, Margo Hayes, we knew when she was coming out that she could definitely do the route and that it would be kind of putting on some pressure for the women. And we knew that her kind of bobble in semifinals might come back to haunt her, and that's unfortunately what happened with her and Ashima both topping out the finals route. So Ashima winning on the strength of her performance in semifinals. But she did not buckle under the pressure at all.
Not at all.
And we'll have a look at some unofficial scores for you here. See Ashima, Margo, and Brooke Raboutou in third place. So Brooke in sort of a familiar position for her, unfortunately, behind Ashima on the podium, but a great performance for her in her first adult nationals as well.
Yeah, and Michaela was down a little further than she was last year. Now for the men, Kai Leitner in first, and a surprise Jesse Grouper in second. Not entirely surprising, but wow, it's cool to see him up in second place. Drew RUANA in third.
Yeah, for the women, it is sort of surprising to see that Michaela is in fifth place and that KYRA is in front of her, the boulderer.
Yeah, KYRA Condie basically turns these routes into a boulder problem. She climbs them so fast.
Right, no time to get pumped.
Some of the other finalists that you saw there, Bobby TAFT-PITTMAN with an excellent final. Great performance from him all weekend. Shane Messer, great climbing in finals by him, just outside of the podium there.
Juliet Talbot also really solid performance. She was smiling at one of the rests, kind of looking around and having a good time up on the wall. Great to see her perform so well, and this is not the last we're going to see of her. I expect a lot out of her in the future.
And we are just waiting for the transition into speed climbing here. Going to see some of the same climbers you saw in sport finals, in speed finals, particularly on the women's side of thing. And for the men, got speed master Libor Hrosa back here from the Czech Republic. Going to be battling against John Brosler and Max Hammer for the men, as we've seen the past couple of years. Some truly impressive skills will be on display here in just a few minutes. Once they get the belayers dialed in, the timers dialed in, and the climbers in position, we will be bringing you our speed finals, where we'll crown our speed climbing national champion. And there you see the walls. I see some climbers, which is usually a good sign that we're going to get started.
Yeah, and this is a scene that we're going to have to get used to, because sport and speed is kind of a thing now. And yeah, it's kind of a neat transition going from these really technical, intricate, creative routes into this route that what you're seeing on the wall here, these red holds, this is the same setup as any speed wall anywhere on Earth. These competitors wire the heck out of this exact route, and they just climb it as fast as they can.
And like you said, speed climbing becoming a more important component in the comp climbing world, with climbing becoming a part of the Olympics in 2020. USA Climbing CEO Keenan Wagner up in Quebec this weekend with a couple other folks from USA Climbing at the IFSC Plenary Assembly, where they're going to be discussing what the Olympic format's going to look like, how things are going to be set up as far as qualifying, and the format of the event. So should be some news on that soon. I know a lot of people have been wondering about the Olympics and how all this is going to factor in.
Yeah, when we talk about it with friends, you know, a lot of the complaints about it being the bouldering, the route climbing, and the speed climbing is that we think that no athlete can do all of those three things super, super well. But it turns out that a lot of these athletes in this competition this weekend are experts at all of those disciplines. So maybe we have a...
Yeah, particularly for the women, we have 3 sport finalists who've made it into speed finals. Brooke, RABOUTOU, KYRA, CONDIE, and Claire Burfine will all be trying to get their energy levels back up for some speed climbing after it has to be a draining sport climbing weekend for them.
Yeah, Claire Burfine is a notable competitor. She placed 3rd coming into this final round for speed, so she's going to be the 3rd to last competitor we'll watch. Oh. Each climber climbs both of those routes. They are the exact same, but they still switch sides.
So they're testing belayers right now, testing the holds.
Seems like an awkward time for a belay check. But I just, the belayers all weekend have done an incredible job. All volunteers out here trying to do their best to keep the climbers safe, both on the sport wall and the speed walls, especially on the speed wall, a unique setup where you got 2 belayers, one pulling the rope down from the wall, another one pulling the rope up from the gree-gree, because the climbers move so quickly that one person really could not keep up with them without tying themselves in a knot.
I tried the speed climb at my gym in Boulder. I had never really tried an official speed climb before. And you can see that those holds, they're all the same, and you can use them in a lot of different ways, which makes it easier for, you know, any height climber, any size climber to do it the way that they need to do it.
So what was your time, Neely?
I mean, there's actually a really big move the third move is big, and I was trying to warm up, so I actually came down.
Yeah, you saw the climbers back in isolation there, getting limber in a way that you don't really see for sport climbing. A little bit more of like a track and field component to this. See Grace McKeon trying to get loose. She will be out in the first pairing for the women here. And you'll see when Libor Rosa comes out, he does not look like your typical sport climber. More of a leg component for a lot of the top speed climbers in the world. Really helps them drive up this wall. Looks like they're just kind of vertically swimming up the wall.
Yeah, and I think the top speed climbers don't ever look down. That's kind of one of the techniques, is they just keep looking up and paddle, paddle, paddle the feet until they hit that timer.
Yes, really no margin for error, and you'll see if a climber makes a mistake, they'll try to recover, but there's really no time to recover as far as the clock goes, because the clock does not stop if you need to rethink a move.
What we're looking at here, by the way, in Denver is the 10-meter speed wall. There is a 15-meter speed wall in some international comps, and I'm guessing it will be the same in the Olympics. That is unofficial, but yeah, there's two different lengths of walls, and this is the 10-meter version.
So it sounds like the sport climbing results have been posted, and there is a 10-minute appeal window that is open now for the competitors to lodge any discussions. And we'll go down for some athlete introductions right now for speed finals and go to Ander Rockstead. Ander, take it away.
All right, guys. This competition is not over. Let me introduce you all of our Speed 2017 Sport Open Nationals athletes. Grace McKinnon, get on out here. Come on, guys, give it up for them. They've waited a long time for this. Brooke Rabooutou, get on out here. She's a double trouble athlete tonight. Very good. Marissa Romero. Bimini Horstman. Bimini, get on out here. KYRA Condie, double trouble athlete again. Piper Kelly, get on out here. Yeah, give it up for Piper. Claire Burfine, another double trouble athlete. Give it up for Claire. Competitor all around. Lauren Bear. Come on out, Lauren Bear. All right, right on. Amanda Wooten. All right, give it up for your USA Climbing 2017 Speed finalists. They're going to let it rip for you guys. All right, come on, get a little louder than that.
All right, thanks, Ander. Setting the stage for the women's speed final there. Our 9 finalists for the women.
There are only a couple women here, actually, who did not compete in one form or another here in Sport Nationals. Looking like Amanda Wooten and Piper Kelly were not on the list in qualifiers yesterday.
Let's meet the men as well here.
Noah Bratschi. All right, give it up for Noah. Michael Finn Henry, get on out here. Man, some of these guys are tall. All right, Luke Muring. Gentry Cole. Max, drop the hammer. Give it up. Dude, that guy can book it. John Brosler. And let's give a warm American welcome to our first place seated speed climber, Libor Rosa from the Czech Republic. I think you guys are going to see the unitard. All right, give it up for all your competitors. All right, head on back.
All right, there's your men's speed final lineup. 11 men in finals, 9 for the women, including our reigning youth national champion for the women, Amanda Wooten. Reigning national champion in her age category. Looking forward to seeing her coming up. But first we will start in reverse order here with Grace McKeon up first. Since there's an uneven number of women here, Grace will be climbing against what's called a rabbit, somebody just to give her some pacing up the wall. You definitely see as we go through the round sort of the competitive aspect and dual nature of this speed climbing format. The competitors just pushing each other up the wall. So that's what we want to do here with Grace, is give her the opportunity to have somebody pacing her as well.
Grace McKinnon, and we got one rabbit, so she doesn't have to race by herself. It's a best of 2 attempts. They take their
So Grace is going to step up on the left there, and then she will transition and do the same thing on the right.
All right, Grace McKinnon in there first.
Wow.
Looking good.
Wow.
Oh.
6.26 for Grace McKeon there.
All right, she's going to get lowered down. She's going to cycle through.
Keep an eye on that clock as we go through this
She's going to get a second shot.
speed final.
Fastest of 2 attempts. All the while, the judges are entertaining any appeals that may be happening.
Transition is very quick here in speed finals.
$1,000 away tonight. That's big money.
One of the reasons the competitors get 2 attempts here in case they have a slip or a fall in their first attempt. They get their best of the 2 times.
Even the rabbit was warming up there, getting ready.
Doing her second run up this wall.
Give it up for Grace. Come on, guys.
Wow.
6.21 on that run, so a little bit better for Grace McKeon. And as Chris was pointing out before, this is a standardized format that the competitors run, so this route has been the same for several years now, and it really gives the climbers an opportunity to continually hone and refine their skills on this exact route and push their time on a consistent basis over the years. So it makes for a really fun format, whereas the sport climbing is a new route every single year. There's really no way to compare year by year. In speed climbing, you can compare times year over year and get a sense for how climbers are improving and pushing the level higher and higher. Makes for some fun things to talk about here as we get our next pair of competitors out here. Marissa Romero on the left and Brooke Raboutou, fresh off a podium finish in sport finals. See if she can do double duty here and make it on the speed podium as well.
The speed routes are the moon board of national championships.
They don't get as much love on Instagram, though, I gotta say.
That's right. I mean, you got to think Brooke is still pretty tired from her 3rd place finish.
Maybe she's just feeling fresh, though. Like, she's pretty warmed up now.
Right? Yeah, it's a lot less climbing than she normally does all day. And it's 5:10, right?
Yeah, 5:10, 5:11. It's, I mean, for these climbers, relatively easy. That's what allows them to really dial in the moves. You saw Marissa there hesitate on one of the moves, and that cost her a good half second.
There is a $20,000 purse for this entire competition. So something to motivate these athletes.
That's worth climbing fast for.
Yeah, I'd even climb fast for that.
So Brooke Raboutou on the left, Marissa Romero on the right. About to face off on their second. Looked like a false start there by Marissa. So they will reset one more time here. And so, yeah, the start is one of the things that the climbers train as well, is anticipating that start.
She started before the whistle.
Correct. So
Yep.
it's all part of the, it's like a, you know, a track and field event.
Exactly.
Anticipating that
Starting
starting
off
gun.
the blocks, yep.
is part of what the climbers have to train for and be ready for.
Interesting there.
Not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
It looked like there's some technical issue. The judges wanted the climbers to
So Brooke's
reset.
left hand was on the bottom one, or right hand was on the top one. Do you know how their hands are supposed to be?
I think they can start however they want as long as one foot is still on the ground.
Huh.
And you'll notice, too, they have different sequences. Some of the competitors are skipping that furthest right hold about 3/4 of the way up. Some of them use it, and there are other minor differences in their beta the whole time.
Not that you have time to really study it.
That's right. Need a slow-mo cam here.
See if third time's a charm here for Brooke and Marissa.
All right, guys, come on.
Clean start.
Come get as loud as you want. Come on now.
Brooke just a
Wow. That's close.
hair ahead of Marissa Romero, though. Grace McKeon still with the best time, though. It's 6.21. Definitely expect to see the top qualifiers pushing the time below 6 seconds. Moving on to our next pairing here. Got Bimini Horseman on the right, KYRA Condie on the left. Bimini made it to semifinals for sport, and obviously we just saw KYRA deep into the final round there.
KYRA in fourth place, notable for how fast she climbs on regular routes and on boulders. This seems like an event made for her.
Yeah, KYRA's definitely done well in speed climbing on the youth circuit over the years. KYRA out in front right now. 6.55 for KYRA Condie.
Wow.
Still not enough to beat Grace McKeon.
They will quickly switch sides. Remember, it's best of 2 runs here.
All right, now the competitors are going to switch routes. Get ready for their second attempt. Get the fast.
See a lot of the competitors kind of, they like to get the start set and that timing implement down there on the ground. That's where they have their foot. That's how the timer starts as soon as they leave the ground. So they kind of like to get that dialed in before they get clipped in and chalked up. It's part of the mental approach that a lot of these climbers have to speed climbing.
Oh.
And a slip for KYRA Condie there, so she'll have to settle for her first time. And a 6.68 for Bimini Horseman. But Grace McKeon still out in front. We are halfway through this women's final. 4 climbers still to come here. Our next pairing will see Piper Kelly facing off against Claire Burfine.
And Claire is one of the athletes who always does really well in both the sport climbing and the speed. I'm really curious to watch her right now because she does super well in these. She was her 3rd place qualifier here in the finals.
Piper Kelly's a 17-year-old climber from Indianapolis, Indiana. Took 5th in speed at the World Championships. Not the start you'd want there for Piper as Claire powering to a 6.08 for Claire Burfine.
That is our fastest time yet.
A new high score for the women in this final. This is why you get 2 cracks at the apple here. If you have a bad start like Piper had, always make up for it on the second run. Piper Kelly on the left and Claire Burfine on the right. Their second run here.
Wow.
Claire, 5.83 for Claire Burfine. Breaking 6 seconds for the first time in this final.
She's got to be happy with that one.
So Claire, a top 10 finish in sport climbing. She is probably going to make the podium here for speed climbing. So another solid nationals for Claire Burfine. It's kind of what she does.
That's right.
She's good at all the disciplines. Definitely the kind of climber you could see vying for a spot on that Olympic team. As we have our final pairing here now for the women. Lauren Bear against Amanda Wooten. Amanda on the left, Lauren on the right.
Oh.
6.23 for Amanda Wooten, our top qualifier coming into finals. She's an 18-year-old from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
You know, Claire is looking at that clock thinking there's just one more chance for her to be beat in this.
Lauren Bear, a 15-year-old from Flower Mound, Texas. Her first adult nationals. She'll be on the left, Amanda on the right. This is it for the women's final. Can anybody beat Claire Burfine's time of 5.83? We'll find out in about 6 seconds.
That's right.
6.02. Claire Burfine going to be the national champion for the women in sport climbing for 2017.
Speed climbing, that is.
We'll fix that in post, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Claire Burfine putting in such a great performance out on the sport wall and then taking gold, as it were, here in the speed climbing finals.
And we'll transition right into the men's comp. You saw for the women there, Claire went in with a time of 5.83 for the men. We generally expect the top men to be trying to break that 4-second barrier on this wall. Libar Rosa has definitely done it before, as has John Brossler.
There's a lot more guys here that did not even bother competing in sport nationals. It seems like a lot more specialists for the men here in the speed comp. We have Nicholas Romero and Luke Rodley.
And I think Nicholas is going to be up against a rabbit here. Somebody from the movement staff.
There you go.
Getting to climb in nationals unofficially. Nicholas, a 17-year-old from Texas, flying up that wall in 4.89. So right away for the men, we go sub 5 seconds.
That's pretty awesome.
Quite the bar to set right out of the gate.
Nicholas took 5th in speed at the Continental Championships in Mexico City. So he is a seasoned competitor in this format. See if the rabbit can improve his time.
10.89.
Might see a little more effort this time.
All right, guys, we're going to the BRC and we're doing this.
Oh, no. Well, both bobbled it there, but still a 4.89 for Nicholas Romero. That's got to be good. Set the bar low, as it were.
Yeah, the nomenclature around this is a little bit different. And sport climbing as we transition to our next pair of speed competitors here. Got Luke Broadley facing off against Ryan Copeland. Luke is a 15-year-old climber out of Mesa Rim down in San Diego, California. Luke on the right there, Ryan on the left.
Ryan Copeland, a 23-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, let's see some fast times. Come on now.
Slow start there for Luke. 5.46 for Ryan Copeland. They will switch sides and do it again here.
And even with a slow start, it was sub 6 seconds for Luke.
Right now they're chasing Nicholas Romero's time of 4.89. But they don't know that, since you can see the competitors are coming from in the back there, so they really just trying to go as fast as they possibly can, no matter what. There's really no measured performances like in sport climbing where you know where you need to get to. This you just always got to go as fast as you can.
All right, guys, come on, they need the support.
Luke on the left, Ryan on the right.
Come on now.
Luke, Ryan coming from behind there in that pairing to win both.
5.40. Second fastest time set so far by the guys.
It is crazy that they don't look down at their feet. They just memorize where those feet are.
Yeah, it's like they're doing a series of one-arm pull-ups with a little bit of aid from paddling on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a learned skill that these climbers are just executing on. I can't imagine how long it would take if you actually tried to look at each move.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll get out there after this and set the slowest time.
Yeah, you know, maybe next year, Brian.
So in this matchup of Noah Bracci on the right, Merritt Emsberger on the right, we had a false start there. Merritt's a 17-year-old from Norman, Oklahoma.
Noah's a 15-year-old from Potomac, Maryland.
Come on, guys, we'll get behind them and see if we can beat that by
Oh, and a 4.89.
That is exactly the time of Nicholas Romero.
for Noah.
So a 4.89 for Noah there.
He was struggling when he came out with his knee pads on. That is a veteran speed climber. I remember yesterday when we watched the qualifying, when the knee pads for his speed pulled out his neck, showing his bloody knee. Oh, right. That makes sense.
Climbers will switch sides with Merritt on the left and Noah on the right for their second and final run up the speed climbing wall here.
All right, guys, get behind him.
Oh,
Come on, Merritt. Nice one.
So a fall at the start there for Noah. He will have to settle for the 4.89 and a 5.14 for Merritt there. And as we get ready to transition to our next pairing, stay tuned. We're going to have interviews with our national champions for sport climbing, Kai Leitner and Ashima Shiraishi, coming up as soon as Speed Finals concludes here in just a few minutes.
Get clipped up with your judges and the players.
Our next pairing got Michael Finn Henry on the right, Luke Meering on the left there in the white tank top. Michael's a 17-year-old from Lincoln, Massachusetts. 4.82 for Michael out in front.
4.82.
Luke Meering, an 18-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia. Going to switch over to the right and try and improve on his time. See if Michael can improve on his 4.82. We know these guys are capable of going sub 4 seconds. It gets real nuts when they go that fast, so.
Yeah, they must skip a lot of holds.
False start there from Michael. Feeling it after that 4.82. He's ready to go.
Still on the high.
He's pretty psyched.
Yeah.
A 4.54 for Michael Finn Henry and a 4.74 for Luke Meering. Great time for him.
A definitive lead, though, now with Michael Finn Henry. 4.54 seconds.
It'll be Michael in first and Luke in second now, with just 3 and 4 climbers to go here. Our #1 qualifier, Libor Hrosa, is a foreign national, so he's not eligible to be national champion. But he is still eligible to win. Take home the top prize. As we transition to our second to last pairing here, Max Hammer on the left, Gentry Cole on the right. Max, a many-time youth national champion, but a bobble there. And a 4.88 for Gentry Cole. So Max is going to have to get it together for his second run. He wants to be national champion. Trying to chase down the 4.54 of Michael Finn Henry. Gentry Cole, an 18-year-old from Argyle, Texas, will be climbing on the left side of your screen.
You'll notice some of these competitors with their knee pads and tape, and I think that's because it's pretty common for them to just bump their legs against the hold since they're obviously not placing their feet well.
Much better start for Max Hammer here, and he is flying right now. A 4.38 for Max Hammer. You could see he had such momentum going there.
That'll do it.
And a 4.58 for Gentry Cole. Good enough for third place at this point. Just 4/100ths of a second behind Michael Finn Henry. So Max Hammer out in front with just 2 climbers to go here. Libor Hrosa, who has won this comp the last couple years, climbing out of the Czech Republic against reigning national champion John Brossler for the USA on the right.
Both of these athletes can do this route sub 4 seconds in their minds at least, and we do know that Libor has done an actual sub 4.
Yeah, I think John broke the 4-second barrier a few years ago at Nationals in an incredible final over at Sender 1.
Whoa.
4.27 for John Brossler. He is going to be national champion for the U.S. And he is in front right now overall as well. So he has the national championship locked up this point again for John Brossler. But Libor Hrosa is definitely capable of going faster than the 4.3 he had there.
The margins here are so incredible. I mean, that's just 0.11 seconds faster than Max Hammer, and John Brossler is the national champion.
Yeah, it's like a swimming or a sprint.
That's 4 in a row for John Brossler. speed climbing national champion. Congratulations to him.
Libor wants this, though. He wants to win. You can tell in his face.
A false start there for Libor Rosa. They will reset.
Oh,
Ah.
wow.
So John Brossler going to take down both the national championship and the overall victory here. I believe that's the first time he's beaten Libor Rosa here at Nationals, so he is psyched and he is showing it right now.
The 4.23 comes out on top.
Four-time national champion John Brossler and Libor Rosa. Always great to see him make it out to Nationals. Not able to put on the performance that we know he's capable of this year, but always great to see him out here pushing these American competitors.
So psyched. So we actually have Ashima Shiraishi joining us in the booth right now, our national champion. Congratulations, Ashima.
Thank you.
You did it. How does it feel to win your first adult nationals?
Honestly, I'm speechless. Like, I'm pretty surprised, but because I didn't really have too much time to like train for this event because I was bouldering and then we only had like a month or something. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, you just dominated the semifinals, becoming the only woman to top that out, and then you came out again for a total no falls weekend. I mean, that was just spectacular. How did you feel when you were climbing these routes?
Honestly, I felt confident in like my endurance, and you know, I've been doing some hard climbs at the gyms in New York and just training on some routes. So, you know, I just knew that I had to just keep my pace and be focused.
And how did you like the routes that they set for you guys?
These routes were amazing. Like, the movement was nice, and I love the new holds that they use because, you know, when you're looking at the climb, it's like a mystery of how good the holds are if they're new, and it's nice to like solve the problems when you don't know like what to expect.
Sure. Now, one thing that you told us last month at Bouldering Nationals is that you were very, very nervous, and we never would have guessed. Were you nervous tonight?
Yeah, I was so nervous. Like, my hands were sweating like in the chair, and you know, I get nervous at comps, but I feel like it helps me focus. So yeah, I'm happy that I was able to like overcome that nervousness.
Yeah, absolutely, you overcame that nervousness. Ashima, thank you so, so much, and big congratulations.
Thank
You're
you
our
so
new
much.
national champion.
Thank you.
Very inspirational to watch.
Thanks.
You could do a lot of tricks with that money around the world.
That was really great to talk to Ashima. I love chatting with her. She's so positive.
And now we're bringing in Kai Leitner, the only male competitor to top out the wall here at Sport Nationals. How did it feel up there on this route, this finals?
It felt really good. I was just super like psyched up because the crowd was so loud. It was probably like one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard.
Wow.
And I was just super, super excited to climb, and I just pushed through. And I'm just super excited to be able to top that climb. I was like, as soon as I got to the top, I was just like, oh, like my whole body relaxed. So I was like, finally.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about how you guys have to transition so quickly between bouldering and then to routes right away. How did you do that? Like, how did you train? Or did you not?
I did. It's just that I really wish we had more time to train. I feel like it's just it's a bit of an inconvenience. But luckily, like, I'm naturally a sport climber. I've always trained sport, and so like it didn't take me long to transition back to doing what I naturally do anyway. And so yeah, I just do what I did when I normally did. I just climbed in the gym, did some sport laps, and then came in prepared.
At Bouldering Nationals, one of the finals problems, I remember, you came out and you looked at it and you were psyched because there were some big slopers. You saw the same thing at the top of this finals route today. How did you feel when you first came out to preview?
Oh, I was so excited. No, I love slopers because I have really big hands. And so I just saw it and I'm like, oh, that's like my route.
Yeah.
I just knew looking at it that I could top it. And even climbing it, it just felt I felt super smooth and everything was clicking really nicely all the way to the top.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how it looked. I mean, you didn't really appear to have to try, Kai.
Nope. No.
Oh, I don't know about that. Nah, I think I was just running on an adrenaline high, really. I couldn't feel anything really. I was kind of just except for just psych, I couldn't feel anything in my forearms. I was just moving and I was in autopilot really. I was just using my training and just climbing the way I know I can. And so, yeah, and I topped the climb. So
that's right.
So what's next for you with climbing?
Well, I'm probably going to take a few days off and then start planning some outdoor trips because my school, I get a month off for spring break. And so, yeah, because I go to a year-round school where every 9 weeks I get a month or 3 weeks off.
Nice.
And so I'll probably train an outdoor trip. I'll probably go to the Red or and go bouldering or something. Well, I'm still planning it out. We'll see.
Cool.
Nice. Well, you are our new national champion. Thank you so much, Kai. It's always so much fun to watch you compete. Thanks for being here.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for having me.
Always. Well, that sure was awesome, having both our national champions in here in the booth for the interview. Wow. There's so many questions I want to ask these athletes that it's hard to kind of just nail it down to one or two, but wow, great to hear from them.
It is great to hear from them. Those are inspirational kids. And they walked in here with Ashima on Kai's back. He was giving her a piggyback into here. It's really cute.
Yeah.
You got to look there at the hardware that's going to be passed out here in just a few moments. I was out there conferring with some of the officials. It sounds like the appeals window is just about closed here, which means that the results will then be official. Be a little bit awkward now to have any major appeals take place, but they just like to make sure everything's squared away. It's part of the official process here because they are selecting the U.S. national team, so placement is important down to the top 6. So they're just finalizing those scores, and then we will go down to the floor for our trophy presentations for both our sport national champions and our speed national champions. And then we should be able to talk to a couple more athletes before we get signed off here for the night. It's been a super exciting final. As always at Sport Nationals, sport climbing is maybe not as popular these days with the kids, but it makes for a great competition format, super exciting, really compact and easy to follow, and always an exciting result with these young competitors.
Yeah. And I also like the fact that you get to actually see them climb a little bit longer. I mean, when you're watching these boulder problems, some of them just do a few moves and they're at the top, or they do a few moves and they fall.
Spend a lot of time watching people rest.
Exactly. But yeah, when you're sport climbing, I mean, you actually get to see their style, and I love that.
Yeah, it's crazy that you only really get to see them sport climb at nationals, as opposed to with bouldering, they have that National Cup Series now, and it's something that they're thinking about doing, is having a National Cup Series with route climbing, so we can hope for that.
Yeah, definitely be something to look forward to. Because, yeah, like you said, the sport climbing circuit's a little bit bare bones these days. Sport National is one of the lone opportunities for these competitors to appear on a national stage like this and an international broadcast such as this one that you've been watching all weekend long.
Courtesy of LT11.
Definitely appreciate all the efforts from the entire LT11 crew. Josh Ewell, John Glassberg, Mike the Sound Weidberg, making sure we sound as good as we possibly can.
That's right. And don't forget Airworks Cinema with all of our cable cams and excellent shots, close-ups of the athletes. You can see the angles of the wall. We'd be nowhere without them.
US dollars up for grabs.
Again, they have a $20,000 purse that they are all going to get a cut of. So that's exciting, especially for these young kids.
And it's always funny at these comps, finding the competitors to give them their check is actually one of the hardest things the officials have to do. You would think that they'd be lining up.
Yeah, if only that were the case in the real world. Huh?
The kids these days.
Who needs money?
Yeah, it is fun. As you mentioned earlier, Brian, the film about Kai and Ashima in Norway was just so fun to watch, and then to see them here climbing side by side national champions. And then, as you mentioned, Neely, coming into the booth here with Ashima on Kai's back. They just are here for the love of climbing, and that's really what this is all about.
Yeah, and now they're part of the national team, which means that they can go climb at World Cups and probably crush there too.
Yeah, we've talked about it with Ashima this week, and also a couple years ago when Kai made his first adult appearance. Both of them we started anticipating for 2 or 3 years, seeing them at this adult nationals. Kai winning in his first attempt 2 years ago, and Ashima winning in her first attempt as well this year. So it's kind of cool to see that payoff when you're just anticipating, seeing them out here competing against the other adults, and to see them actually be able to pull it off is pretty incredible.
That's right.
It is. The poise that those two youngsters have is incredible.
Definitely climbing beyond their years in terms of their maturity, their outlook, the way Kai described just kind of being, I forget exactly what he said, but in the zone, kind of out of body there. It was just so cool.
Yeah, something to...
And especially for Ashima, knowing that Margo had on side of the route, like, that's a lot of pressure, knowing that you have to get to the top. There's no room for any error whatsoever, and she looked totally composed, and like she said, she gets nervous, but you just really wouldn't be able to see it from the outside.
You would never know unless she told you.
Yeah. Yeah, she really took her time there, made it happen. I'm psyched. I really wanted to actually to see her win bouldering, but this is good enough.
That's right. Kai and Ashima both taking second at bouldering nationals just 5 weeks ago, and now taking first at sport nationals.
More nights than they, I mean, they're just in pure delirium now. They did a fabulous job dividing the field over the weekend. Big, big thanks to all of the movement, climbing, and fitness, and all of the staff. You guys were huge. You guys were instrumental in making this happen. A tight ship they run.
That's Ander Rockstead, our in-house commentator, doing all the live stuff today. He's done an amazing job.
And we definitely want to echo the sentiments that Ander is dishing out right now. The movement community here in Denver, all along the Front Range, really coming out to support this event, whether it's the climbers that came out to compete at such a high level and all the fans that came out. Really big crowds for qualifiers and semifinals and finals just packed in here. You don't always see that at all the gyms that we go to for nationals. So really appreciate their coming out and supporting this event.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, Kai said that too. I mean, this is one of the loudest crowds he's ever been in front of. And just peeking out these windows next to us, you can tell why. I mean, it is packed, just jam-packed with people. What a great community here in the Front Range.
Right, and it took a whole team of people to put this on. Volunteers, belayers, judges, route setters, forerunners. It's a lot of work, and it went pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, I think a lot of that speaks to the staff here at Movement, really opening up their facility all week. It's highly disruptive to host nationals for, this is a commercial facility. You know, they're closed for business for several days for this comp to come off, so they did a great job of keeping everything running smoothly. It takes a lot of coordination to get everything dialed in, and they did a spectacular job keeping things running all weekend long here.
There's a look at the LT11 broadcast crew. Here we are kind of nestled away up next to the lead wall. These guys deserve a lot of credit for everything they're doing here tonight.
Multitaskers.
Yeah, they put down their Instagram stories for a couple hours here. Nice of them to take a break.
A little love from Kevin Martin there in the background.
It's at Crazy Mountain Brewing, which
Nice sunglasses down there. Must be bright.
Gosh, if anyone needs sunglasses, it's us here in front of these spotlights.
That's right. That's where we belong, though, you know?
From Vail, I heard. They roll it down the mountain.
This is the Always Classic time fill scenario here at Nationals. Always takes a little bit longer than one would expect to get the results finalized. They want to make sure they got everything dialed in before they hand out the results. Going to have the podiums for both sport and speed. Saw Claire Burfine winning for the women in speed and John Brossler winning for the men. So they'll be taking home gold as well.
If we get to interview Brooke, you know, she's going to be up there as third place, and Ashima's going to be up there at first place, and she's been behind Ashima so many times. They're so close, and I wonder how that feels for Brooke.
And there we have our unofficial scores so far. Ashima, Margo, Brooke, and KYRA, and Michaela and Claire Burfine in the top 6 places for the women.
The men, we have Kai, of course, our national champ, Jesse Grouper, Drew Ruana, Noah Ridge, and Shane Messer. Great job, guys.
Seems like a matter of time before Drew Ruana breaks through and gets that national championship. He was really close this year, basically just 2 moves away from the top.
I'm thinking the same thing, Brian. He certainly has the skills and the resume to put that together.
And for Jesse Grouper, his second place finish at Nationals. So certainly a matter of time before he breaks through as well. And for the women, we saw, outside of Ashima just kind of dominating the comp this weekend, the rest of the field sort of reshuffling between each round, between qualifiers and semifinals and now into finals. But no surprise to see Margo Hayes. Well, I guess it's surprised to see her not win, but not surprised to see her, if she's not winning, to see her in second place there behind Ashima. We knew that they would be battling neck and neck for the title this weekend.
Yeah, and you know, it's safe to assume that most of these competitors have spent the last several months at least, if not half a year, training mostly indoors for these plastic competitions, with Bouldering Nationals last month and Sport Climbing now. Whereas Margo has spent the last month or so in Spain climbing on rock, and I'm sure that's a little bit different than what most of the competitors have been up to.
Yeah, lucky her. She probably trains in a gym too, but yeah, she has a lot of experience. Climbing on all of that limestone outdoors gives her a lot of maturity and experience to draw on when she's in here. I'm excited to see what's next for these ladies and gentlemen. Like Kai said, he's going to take a trip, and maybe a lot of them will take the opportunity to do that and kind of relax for a while.
And this is the first time in 7 or 8 years that we haven't had a repeat champion for the women. Prior to Margo, we had Delaney Miller winning a few times in a row, and then before that, Sasha DeJulian being national champion a few times in a row as well. So,
well, Ashima has a good chance of having a three-peat.
She has arrived, yeah.
Yeah.
See Onder down there checking in with the scorers table, see what the status of our final results are. Must be waiting for the Electoral College votes to come in.
That's right. And they may give us results that we're unprepared for.
And as we were talking about, the route setting really in finals worked out really well, because there was a lot of concern after semis, and we'll hold that thought as we are ready for our final results. Now let's go down stairs to Onder Rockstead.
Okay. Now for the moment you guys have all been waiting for and staying around with me, minus that sweet after party that's to come, $2 beers. All right, we're going to start with sport females. Third place in the USA Climbing 2017 Sport Nationals going to Brooke RABOUTOU. Get on out here, Brooke. All right, get on that podium. You earned it. All right. Second place, you may recognize her from the internet, in history books everywhere in climbing, Margo Hayes. Give it up for your local climbers. You got 2 and 3 on the local. That's some good stuff. Both ABC climbers, let them get that photo op with Robin. All right. And in first place, your USA 2017 Sport Climbing National Champion, none other than Ashima Shiroshi. Give it up. What a performance tonight. All right. Okay, Ann Worley's gonna give her the National Champion Cup. Ann is the proprietor of this here gym establishment. Give it up, get the photos. Give it up to your female competitors. They climb their hearts out. And they're all smiles. That's a class act. All right. Okay, let's move on to the men. Okay, and for the men, coming in third place from the Pacific Northwest, get on out here, Drew Rana. All right, he's all smiles, keeping it classy. Nice one, Drew. All right, in second place, talking about all smiles, give it up for Jesse Grouper. Potentially the most psyched guy at this whole comp. Just happy to be alive, Jesse. Yeah, all smiles, we like that. Coming in from Philadelphia. All right, our USA 2017 Sport Climbing National Champion, none other than Kai Leitner. And he darn well took it in good style. All right. Ann Worley will be delivering the National Champion Cup. All right, give it up to your male competitors. They climb their hearts out all weekend long for you. Get your photos. Get your chalk bags signed by these gentlemen. Great stuff, class act. All right. You guys are adjourned. Let's bring on our speed competitors. From the Lone Star State for female speed, coming in third place, Grace McKeon. All right. Coming in second place from Stone Summit in the ATL, Amanda Wooten. She can tear it up that wall. Also from that Lone Star State, Claire Burfine, number 1, the USA 2017 Speed Climbing Female Champion. Give it up to that double trouble competitor, Claire Burfine. Ann Worley hooking it up with the National Cup. All right, get your photos. All smiles with these ladies. Give it up to your female speed competitors. All right. Okay, let's get ready for the men. And then that after party. Okay, in third place for the men, get on out here, Max, drop the hammer. Coming from Planet Rock. Awesome style, great competitor, awesome pink knee pads to boot. part of a whole USA climbing family. His dad was part of the judging system. It was awesome to see. All right, let's give a warm American welcome to our Czech brother, Libor Rosa, in second place. Don't you guys dare try and get that blue unitard. I've already claimed it. All right, your USA 2017 speed climbing men's champion, John Brossler, coming out of the gate. Just ripping it up. All right, get your photos. Get your photos. Let's get him medaled. Let's let Ann Worley give him that national cup. All right, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. That's a total.
All right, congratulations to our winners there, and that is going to wrap it up for the 2017 edition of the Sport and Speed National Championships. Congratulations to John Brossler and Claire Burfine, our Speed National Champions, and Kai Leitner and Ashima Shiraishi, our Sport Climbing National Champions. Neely and Chris, it's been a pleasure being here all weekend with you guys. An exciting competition, as always.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been a Louder Than 11 production. This is Brian Reynolds for Chris Weiner, Neely Quinn saying so long from Denver.
EP poured the first handhold in 1985. Here we are 30 years later. Chances are if you climbed inside, you've climbed on an EP hold.